If you have your Bibles or electronic devices, we invite you to turn to the book of Genesis, first book of the Bible, Genesis chapter 19. Genesis chapter 19. First book of the Bible, Genesis. You heard it earlier from those who are in sight. I heard it from the King James Version of the Bible earlier. I'd like to read it again, but this time from the New Living Translation. Genesis chapter 19, beginning at verse 15. The writer records here beginning at that 15th verse. At dawn the next morning, the angels became insistent. Herod said to Lot, "Take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here. Get out right now, and you will be swept away in the destruction of the city." When Lot still hesitated, the angel seized his hand and the hands of his wife and 2 daughters and rushed them to safety outside the city, for the Lord was merciful. When they were safely out of the city, one of the angels ordered, "Run for your lives, and don't look back or stop anywhere in the valley. Escape to the mountains, or you will be swept away." Let's drop down to verse 23. Lot reached the village just as the sun was rising over the horizon. Then the Lord rained down fire and burning sulfur from the sky on Sodom and Gomorrah. He utterly destroyed them along with the other cities and villages of the plain, wiping out all the people and every bit of vegetation. But Lot's wife looked back as she was following behind him, and she turned into a pillar of salt. A time to not look back. A time to not look back. Take a poll here. Are there any people here who ever did something you regretted you did? Are there any people here who ever made a foolish decision? My hand is going up, too. Are there times you could reverse some things that you have done in the past? It is important in life that we look back from where we have come from. We can look back to see the distance we have traveled. We can look back to see what was behind us. We can look back to see that some things may have changed. We can look back to get a perspective on where we are and where we need to go. We can look back to do some reflection that may be beneficial to us getting ahead. There may be a time, or there should be a time in all of our lives that we need to look back. We can look to the sides. We can and ought to look ahead. But there are times when we need to just look back. When we look back, we may see how God has moved in the past. When we look back, we may see that we may have had some help in us moving where we were. Yes, there are times when we need to just look back. Looking can be a good thing if you have not done it in a while. And some people are where they are today because they have looked back. They look back to the negative things that were in their lives, and they look back to the good things that were in their lives. However, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, there may be times, or there may be a time, singular, when looking back may not be a good thing. There have been times when people look back and they never were able to get a perspective on their present situation. Because the bad things of the past, their personal demons, their past mistakes, their past bad choices, and their past incidents became too overwhelming for them. They look back and it depressed them. They look back and they experienced the hurts of yesterday, and some of the wounds were opened back up, and the stitches of the past were not able to hold together the wounds of the past. They took time to look back, and they regretted looking back. I'm sure that the man in the text today named Lot was sad that day that his wife looked back. You might have a brother, a sister, a son, a daughter, a parent, an uncle, an aunt, a cousin, a friend, a co-worker, or someone in your life, and they looked back or kept looking back, and it was not good for their life. Perhaps it was not a brother, a sister, a son, a daughter, a parent, an uncle, an aunt, a cousin, a friend, a co-worker, or someone in your life who looked back. But it was you who looked back. Lot's wife looked back and she became a pillar of salt. Understand, average height, say she was 5'3", so she became a 5'3" pillar of salt. She looked back at a community or world that had become wicked and corrupt. People willfully and openly did evil deeds and lived evil lives, and their debauchery, their depravity, their corruption, their dishonesty, their decadence, their iniquity, their shamelessness, or immorality was seen by God. All that we do is seen by God. Whether good or evil, it is seen by Him. He knows all about it. He sees the things that we do. Therefore, if He sees what we do, perhaps we need to do the right thing. His eyes are on us. Proverbs 15:3 says, the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. Since His eyes are on us, that means that He is not only sees what we're doing, but He sees what we have done. But there are times that we need to look back at what we have done, but the message today reminds us that there is a time to not look back. Allow me to recap certain aspects of this incident. Abraham was one of the richest men of his time. Abraham was a counterpart to Job, who lived in the same time. Abraham was one of the richest men of his time. And in time, his nephew Lot became rich. So much so that Abraham had cattle and herdsmen, and Lot had cattle and herdsmen, and the land was not able to hold both of their wealth. And so Abraham said to Lot, your choice, you get the first choice. Either you can stay here or you can go somewhere else in order that our business efforts could continue to grow and that we would not be in each other's way. And one of the accounts of the Bible says that Lot cast his eyes, or cast his tent, depending on the translation, towards Sodom. And so Lot and his family moved to Sodom. Sodom was a wicked city. Anything that you could think of that was evil went on in Sodom and Gomorrah. Have any of y'all been there? Y'all been there? Oh, just check this out. So much so that the wickedness, God took note of. God takes note of wickedness. And God decided that he was going to destroy Sodom. And he said, and God and Abraham had such a relationship that they related and they talked. And God told Abraham what he was going to do. And I was talking to where's Jim? Jim and I were talking about this at breakfast this morning because I told him they didn't have time to go through it. But Abraham, God told him Abraham raised the question. God said, well, you know, if there are 50 righteous people, would you not destroy? And then he kept going down and going down. God finally told him, listen, Abraham, there are not 10 righteous folk there. And the city will be destroyed in conjunction with Gomorrah. And so what God did in his love, God sent 2 angels to Lot's house. I'm not going to tell you the incident with there. It was such an evil city. And so the angels told Lot that it was time to go. And Lot and his wife and 2 daughters, there's some who believe that Lot had other daughters and sons, but they stayed in Sodom. Got to speak this story because we're not going to be here too long. Oh, we're going to be here too long today. And so Lot, his wife and son, and wife and daughters, rather, they left and they traveled, and then they were away from the city, and Lot's wife turned around. And that was it for her. She should not have looked back. And as we continue, there's a time to not look back when we have been warned of the dangers. If we have been warned of the dangers, we don't need to look back. If you've been warned of something, if you've been told what will happen, and what will happen will not be good, then we don't need to look back. Do not gravitate towards it. Do not go there. Do not wish for it. Do not look back. If you and I know something is dangerous, why even put ourselves in that environment? Amen. I've reached this stage in my life, I don't do anything that's dangerous. I'm serious. Oh no. Oh no, I don't do any danger. And I'm saying this is dangerous. I don't go on the roller coaster. I'm not saying that's dangerous, but I don't put myself on the roller coaster. For me, it might be dangerous. All those little Ferris wheel things. That's right. All those little local carnivals that come, oh no. I mean, if you want to do it, that's okay. I'm not talking against you. I don't have any money invested in it or anything like that. If you and I know something is dangerous, why even put ourselves in that environment? That's right. Do not try to go for it. Do not try to wish for it, because you and I know that there is something dangerous associated with a particular act or thing we shouldn't do. And Lot and his family should have gotten out there fast and not look back because of the dangers of what was behind them. Lot was a rich man, but he could not take his stuff or his things or his wealth with him. That's just a lesson for all of us. He and his family had to leave in a hurry. There was danger in being in Sodom and Gomorrah. Listen to what the dangers are. Danger in this case was as Lot and his family had to contend with in the text. Verse 15 said, at dawn the next morning, the angels became insistent. Hurry, they said to Lot, take your wife and your daughters who are here. Get out right now. Yeah. That's, you know what? No, I'm let them go here. You will be swept away in the destruction of the city. The city was about to be destroyed. if a city is about to be destroyed and you and I live in that city, I would say that we're in danger. I would say that place should be a place where we try to avoid. Do not look back on that situation. Do not look back. Do not wish that you could stay. Do not look back or want anything that is dangerous to your well-being. When there is danger or something that is dangerous, it means that it is a hazard. It means that there are risks. It means that our safety and our well-being or life itself may be in jeopardy. There's a time to not look back when we've been warned of the dangers. If that is the case, we do not need to look back and go back to sin in our lives. Because the first part of Romans 6:23 says, the wages of sin is death. And since sin leads to death, we do not need to look back at it and go back to it. Even though the wages of sin is death, the second part of Romans 6:23 says this, but the gift of God is eternal life. The angels told Lot and his family to leave. They need to get out there fast. They had no reason to look back and should not have looked back because there was danger involved. They would be destroyed along with the other wicked people. Matter of fact, I didn't tell the story at the first one. I was trying to cut back time. I remember as a child, there were certain sections of town we didn't walk in, especially when folks had dogs. I'm serious. And even right now, the dogs start barking and I'm walking. I'm serious. To me, that's a dangerous situation. Oh no, we're not barking you, but it's dangerous to me. Do not look back and be destroyed like other wicked and sinful people. There's a time not to look back when we have been warned of dangers. Listen to the warnings in your life. Do not look back because there are dangers back there. In addition, brothers and sisters, there is a time to not look back when we have received God's mercy. And God has done something for us and been merciful for us. So we ought to be thankful and not look back or go back to that situation. If God shows his mercy or mercy towards us, we should not look back or turn back to that thing that he, meaning God, by his love and because of his love, gave us mercy. God showed mercy towards Lot, his wife, and his two daughters by sending two angels to warn them about what God was about to do. God did not have to warn them, but he did. God is under no obligation to grant his mercies towards any of us, but I'm glad he does. The sun shines on the just as well as the unjust, and the other side of that is that we're still subject to certain things, even if we serve God. Serving God does not mean that we will always be healthy. Serving God does not mean that we will never have financial problems. Serving God does not mean that we will always be in healthy relationships and that Mr. Right or Mrs. Right is out there for us. Sometimes bad things do happen to good people. But God shows his mercy towards us, even in the midst of it all. Listen to how it unfolded in the text. Verse 16, when Lot still hesitated, he was just kind of like taking his time. The angel seized his hand and the hands of his wife and two daughters and rushed them to safety outside the city. And listen to this part. For the Lord was merciful. When they were safely out of the city, one of the angels ordered, run for your lives and don't look back or stop anywhere in the valley. Escape to the mountains or you will be swept away. The angel did not have to take them by their hands to get them out of the city, but he did because of the mercy of God. Mercy is something that we can get even though we don't deserve it. There are times we get things in our lives that we don't deserve. Even though Lot and his family did not engage in some of the sinful things that the others were doing in the city, they were not sin-free, meaning they did not sin. The Bible reminds us that all of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. We're here because of God's mercy towards us. Each one of us today, we're in this place because of God's mercy. We don't have to, you know what? We could have been, all of us at this particular point, could be somewhere else. in a not-so-good situation. But because of God's mercies, for those who are following us via Facebook Live and Periscope, we're here. If God has shown you mercy, and if he has shown me mercy, and by the way he has, we should not want to go back or look back to those things that he saved us from or delivered us from. Tom Carroll said, mercy and forgiveness must be free and unmerited to the wrongdoers. If the wrongdoer has to do something to merit it, then it isn't even mercy. Luke 6:36 says, be merciful just as your Father is merciful. Titus 3:5 says, he saved us not because of our righteous things we have done, but because of his mercy. He saved us through the washing of rebirth and renewal by his Holy Spirit. There's time to not look back when we have received God's mercy. God has been merciful towards you. Do not go back and look back to those things that God had to take us out of and show his mercy to us. Amen to that. Amen. Finally, there's a time to not look back when we have been following the right person. There's a time to not look back when we have been following the right person. Lot's wife and 2 daughters were following him. They were not out in front. Lot was. They were not setting the pace. Lot was. They did not have much time to spare. They probably had been traveling or headed to a safe place through the night. So imagine now, they had traveled all night. It was just early on that next morning as the sun was rising. Listen to how the biblical writer, the Bible writer describes this in verse 23. And before we get to verse 23, what happens between verse where we left off from 17 to 23 is that then Lot decided he didn't want to go too far out. And he wanted to negotiate with the angels how far he wanted to go. Let me say this, and I'm a big negotiator, because whenever I stop, I will ask you, do you have a discount? Johnson, I asked you have a discount. You got a working man's discount? I come over, AAA, AARP, grandparents discount. But let me say this. When it comes to God, you can't bargain with God. The text says, verse 23, Lot reached the village just as the sun was rising over the horizon. Then the Lord rained down fire and burned sulfur from the sky on Sodom and Gomorrah. And this is what he says. He utterly destroyed them along with the other cities and villages of the plain. See, most people thought it was just Sodom. It was other areas also, wiping out all the people and every bit of vegetation. Verse 26. But Lot's wife looked back. There's something, Denise, as she was following behind him, and she turned into a pillow of salt. God destroyed the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot's family were following him. There's a time to not look back when we have been following the right person. All of us in here should be following the right person. There are people out here and out there that we should not be following. The things that they are doing are not worthy of us following them. And if you're following the wrong person, stop doing it immediately. It will lead you to being disappointed. It will lead you to being disappointed or being destroyed. Lot's family was following the right person. Now, I don't want you to confuse. I don't want to confuse anyone here. And I don't want you to get the wrong impression as I'm talking about following the right person. There's a time to not look back when we have been following the right person. Now, I'm not talking about following Lot, because he's like a human. He was a human being like all of us. we're subject to go the wrong way. I'm talking about following God. If we read the entire story of Lot to chapter 19 in Genesis, we see that Lot and his family lived in a wicked place. They did not live like the other people of the city, but living in the city did influence them negatively. We're not dealing with today, but it influenced them negatively, as Lot seen later in his daughters. They followed the right person for the most part. If you have been observing the monitor, the P in person is capitalized. And it's capitalized because it refers to God. There's a time to not look back when we have been following the right person. Lot's family were not just following Lot, they were following God. The time is always right. The time is always the right time to follow God. You know, like sometimes, like how many of you like breakfast food at breakfast time? How many of you like dinner food at dinner time? Okay. How many of you like dinner time food at breakfast? How many of you can do away with breakfast food? Just a bunch of carbs. Timing is important. And the time is always the right time to follow God. However, when we take our eyes off the right person and we look back, disastrous things can happen. As long as Lot's wife was looking forward, she was all right. There are some people who believe that Lot's wife looked back because she was checking on her daughters because they were behind her. There are some people who believe that she wanted to take one more look at the city before she left. She was leaving her home and her financial security. Don't ever get caught up in your home and financial security. The Bible really does not tell us the reason, but if you're looking back, or if you're tempted to look back today, and there's something that God is trying to deliver you from or bring you out of, it is not the time to look back. This is the time to go forward. This is the time to go full steam ahead. This is time to not hold on to the past. This is time to leave that old life. This is time to not look back. If God has brought you out of a bad relationship, do not look back. If God has given you a new outlook on life, don't look back. Lot's wife looked back. Please do not go back to that old city, those old thoughts, those old ways of living, and following the wrong person. Who should we follow? It is time for you and I to follow someone with a capital S who has a good track record. It's time for you and I to follow someone who knows the way. It is time for you and I to follow someone who has stated that he is the way, the truth, and the life. It's time for you and I to follow someone who's able to heal the sick and raise the dead. It's time for you and I to follow someone who's able to feed the hungry. It's time for you and I to follow someone who's able to give water to the thirsty. It's time for you and I to follow someone who's able to calm the raging sea. It's time for you and I to follow someone who has walked on water. Don't you remember the story when Peter was walking to Jesus on the water? When he took his eyes off of Jesus, he began to sink. The same thing happened to us. It's time for you and I to follow one who lived in this life. It's time for you and I to follow someone with a capital S who was placed on the cross. It is time for you and I to follow someone who died on the cross. It's time for you and I to follow someone who was raised from the dead. It's time for you and I to follow someone whose name is Jesus. When we follow Jesus, we do not have to look back. Yes, it's time for us to follow Jesus. Yes, Jesus is his name. It's time to follow him. Brad Paisley, for those who are into country western, Brad Paisley says this: if you make a mistake of looking back too much, you aren't focused enough on the road in front of you. And there are some who are not focused on the road in front of them, because they keep bringing up the whole thing, they keep looking back. And when you look back like that, you know what happens? It brings you back in. suggest to you today, look to Jesus. He is the author and the finisher of our faith. There might be somebody who's following us via Facebook Live and Periscope, and you have never accepted Jesus Christ as Savior. This is an opportunity to do that. Okay, serious. You're interrupting. If you're following us via social media, please bow your heads. If you're here on site, please bow your head. We're going to pray two prayers. Just whisper the prayer after me. The first prayer is for those who will know Jesus as Savior. Just whisper the prayer after me. Lord, I have been looking back. And I keep looking back and going back. It has left me with ups and downs. Save me. Jesus, come into my life. Make me brand new. In Jesus' name. Keep your heads bowed. Second prayer for those who know him. Father, this message was for me. There are areas in my life whereby I keep looking back. But thank you for saving me. Re-empower me with your Holy Spirit so that I can move forward and not look back. Help me in Jesus' name. Amen. Eyes up. Hands up. Now, you follow us via social media. If you pray this first prayer, please get involved with the local church whereby you can grow and God can use you and you don't have to look back. Now, if you live within an hour's drive of Williamsburg, Virginia, why don't you just come here on Sunday? We're at New Zion Baptist Church. We're located 3991 Long Hill Road, Williamsburg, Virginia, USA. We have two services, 8:30 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Those here on site,